And that was Kinsman and their new single, God's Really Been Good. Go ahead and download that today. It's on iTunes, Google Play, wherever you download your new music, all of your music. Download Kinsman's new single, God's Really Been Good, from their forthcoming album is coming out this year. You don't want to miss it. Go ahead and connect with them on all social media sites. But right now, let's go right now, because I know Daniel is waiting to share so much great information. We have Daniel Moore on the line, the renowned Daniel Moore. Thank you, Will, for giving him those applause. Daniel, are you there? Or did you hang up on me?
I'm here. I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you, Daniel, for being so patient and waiting to speak with me on the show. How are you, Daniel Moore?
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm good.
All right, now I know you're probably have you been resting, because everybody saw you this past Sunday on the Trumpet Awards.
Oh yeah, I've been in a necessary rest. We wrapped Trumpet Awards and Super Bowl Gospel all a week apart.
Wow. Now were both shows taped in the same city?
No. We do the Trumpet Awards in Atlanta at the Cobb Energy Center, and we were in Minneapolis for the Super Bowl.
Okay, all right. And I guess I should have known that if I would have watched both shows, right? Pretty much knowing where they were. But I wasn't sure, just trying to see, like, so do you have like a private jet, Daniel, that takes you from one show to the next? How does that work out?
I'm just a working musician, but all the renowned and great market. Thanks.
They so you saying they have their own private jets?
Oh, I'm sure. Some of you are A-list artists for sure.
But you're not on the jets with them. I know you're on those same planes, Daniel.
Oh no.
No.
No, you can catch me at Hartsville, Atlanta Airport anytime.
Well, for those of you all who are listening online and also checking that out on Facebook Live, I am doing a live interview right now with Daniel Moore. He is, I keep saying, renowned, most sought after producer, songwriter, music director. Daniel, you are the music director for. You said that's kind. It's true. Mariah Carey, you are the music director. You are, and we're not talking about were, currently. Anita Baker, the Jacksons. If you're on Facebook Live, you're seeing the pictures of Daniel in action. He's such a happy guy, a positive guy. He doesn't talk a lot about his accomplishments, but they're definitely, I believe they're worth talking about. You have worked with so many gospel artists. You produced so many projects. I'm trying to think of everything from, I keep saying all these different shows, Trumpet Awards, Super Bowl Gospel Celebration, Sunday Best, R&B Divas, Apollo Live. What else, Daniel? I mean, you have done it all.
A guest preacher at some church, and you're like, I feel like a guest preacher, and like you're reading my resume. I'm sitting there, like in the prayer stand,
waiting for you to walk up and give the word, right? But it's true. I mean, and this is what you're doing currently. And for those who all may not know, Daniel is he's young. He's a young guy, and you've done so much, like over the last 20 years. And also, so Daniel, can you just tell those? Well, first of all, if you know, Daniel, this is the Artist Stage Radio Show. We talk about things that happen before the stage, on the stage, and off the stage with artists and musicians. And I know you have a wealth of knowledge to share with those who are listening, who want to be a part of not just the music industry, the entertainment industry, which you are a part of. But how did it start for you? Did it start when you were 5? Were you 10? Were you 15? Is when that door opened, or you realized you wanted to be a part of this industry?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to be in the entertainment industry probably from the womb. I don't remember not playing, not singing. So from the time I was, I could walk and talk, I was finding a piano. My grandmother said I used to run from one side of the room and jump up to hit a key.
Oh, wow.
That was my activities while everybody else was outside. So, I always wanted to play, directing in church very early, probably at 9 or 10. I probably had my first choir. I started getting paid from church like 8th grade. I remember that because my 8th grade principal pulled me in the office, and I thought I was in trouble. And he actually needed a musician for his young adult choir.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave me like $50 a week when I was like 11 or 12, and I thought I was in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So I could probably say, I've always been in the entertainment field. Professionally, I went to school in Hartford, Connecticut, and ended up moving from there to Atlanta, where I was working with Jagged Edge, and that was probably late 2000. So from there, it's just been the journey from writing, production to touring, television, whoever was paying.
Whoever was. Now, it wasn't just about whoever was paying, Daniel. They thought much of you because of your skills, because they can pay anybody now. You have worked with some top A-list.
That's kind.
You said that's kind. He's so humble. But it's true. I mean, even before that, from what I know, because we met through my Ty Scott days, and
Tell that story.
Yeah, let's tell that story, Daniel. So I was doing a record, and I was trying to produce my own album, and Daniel wanted to produce it, and I told him no, and no, that's not how that happened. He really wanted to play on my album.
I was working with the Anointed Pace Sisters, and Tracy was the A&R at Ty Scott. Latrice and Micah were trying to pitch me to produce the album, and Tracy didn't believe in me. So much R&B, she didn't think I was saved.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to submit like a bunch of gospel things that I had done. By this time, I worked with Jagged and TLC and Silk and whoever else, and she didn't care for the kingdom. So
nope. You was of the world.
She gave me a real hard time during that whole time. She gave me a all-in, very small budget, and told me to figure it out.
No, that's not true. That is not true, everybody. No. We hit it off pretty well and connected, and we communicated pretty well. We had like minds when it came to this music industry, but some of that story is true.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. We did it. Talking about the record. We didn't always have like minds.
Right. When it was talking about the music. Not when it was time for the budget. When it came down to those budgets, it was a little different. I know. But Daniel, you mentioned that you have you moved from so you were born in Michigan, correct?
Right.
And you were
then I grew up in DC.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you said that
but I did do about in Hartford, Connecticut. From there, I met Jagged Edge from there, because they're from Hartford.
Gotcha.
And that's how I got to Atlanta.
Okay. Now, you mentioned you work with TLC. Who else did you say there on that secular side?
Yeah. TLC, I was working with Ronnie Jerkins at the time.
Okay.
So we did the TLC album. This is right when Left Eye had just passed.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Jagged Edge, all the Corner Boy stuff. At that time, Sierra was a brand new artist. Carrie Hilson was a brand new artist. All the Noontime Atlanta. Anybody remember Corner Boys? Rico Love? We were all just grinding right in our apartment. We had a 1680, if anybody remember, hard disc recorders, and an MPC 2000, and bang it out the hits. And yeah. So from there, then I started getting, through the club scene. I met a good friend of mine, Trey Gilbert, who plays bass, and at that time he was MD in Silk. So he had called me in on that gig, and Nesby, we did a DVD. So I just kind of floated around. The television thing happened kind of by osmosis. I never really saw myself doing television. Actually, I wanted to just tour. When Sunday Best came to Atlanta, this was season 2, Keisha Jackson called me to sing background.
Okay.
And I thought, I never sung background really. I was more of a musician, so I was like, well, I can find you a tenor. And she was like, no. And I really didn't know how pivotal that moment was going to be in my life, because I actually spoke to a couple different people until she just hounded me and was like, no, you need to do this. And when I did that, that's how I met Ray Chew.
Okay.
Jim Wright, and my BT, Ray Chew, from that point is how I met. And with Big Jim Wright, he called me and he said, they get ready to do a new late night show, and I need I need you to help me find a band show. So that's kind of how the television journey just kind of came, power relationships and kind of stepping outside of, like I said, I'd never done background singing, especially professionally. So I was just a musician, and I could have said no, called me to play. But, here we are.
And so you said you never saw yourself doing television, but would you say that is it a different world doing live bands for shows?
It is.
Okay.
It is. And what I found in working in television is I actually love television. Television is a very structured environment. As a producer, I always, knew about editing, getting songs down. I mean, when you got to send something to radio and you got to cut it down to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, all that kind of stuff I learned through television, as well as production side. I mean, everything from all time coding to frame rates, everything, I had to learn it. And it was really intriguing to me to want to know more. Sitting in the editing suite and, watching and learning and my hands on those post-audio mixes to the post-audio edits, and picture edits as well. So it was, at first I was just a cat. I wanted to do band arrangements and all the cool stuff that you saw on tour.
Right.
And cool for me for a while, but, later on television, I was like, nah, this is really cool.
Now, so the television piece, so we're talking about television, but now, I don't know how you're definitely doing this now, but it went from television, and then also you were able to tag on being Mariah Carey's music director? How did that come about?
Yeah, I actually, I was on the road with her probably about two years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I was just in the band and getting ready to do the Asia tour. I believe that's when not the Emancipation record. What was their record? Two's record came out, and so we toured Asia, and we did Australia, and then she signed a deal to do Vegas for 2 years, and come out and sing One Sweet Day with her, which was amazing.
So, I'm sure.
I kind of went from, being the piano player to coming out to singer, and then later on, when the transition happened, music director, and we just did the Christmas show, and if you saw the thing that we did, that's how it's been going. So it's been a really great experience. And she's amazing to work with. So
she really is. And so we got Mariah Carey, also Anita Baker, the Jacksons.
With Anita for a long time. If you remember her remix of Lately, I'd done that with her. Maybe about 2 years, maybe about 3 years actually.
Okay.
Before we did that record. So I mean, I learned a lot from. I have a huge respect for her as a singer. One thing I always tell people with singers, Anita is the only singer I know that has come out and can call out frequencies in her sound check. A lot of the front house engineers, they will say that you want to make sure your mic's not feeding back, you got enough reverb, blah, blah, blah. She's the one that could say, pull out 200 or, give me a little dip in 10K. And, she understands compression ratios. And I remember one time she set a lexicon reverb on the side of the stage in mid-show with her lag time. I was like, wow.
Oh, wow.
I'd never seen anything like that. So, yeah, she was amazing. I started working with them right after Michael died. We did a big concert in Wales. They started to come back as a touring group. We did the first show in Tokyo, and I took a break for a minute because we were doing Sunday Best at that time, and then I recently came back about 2 years ago.
So okay, now so you called out Anita Baker. We talked about Mariah Carey, Anita Baker, and you said, oh, and then I worked with the Jacksons right after that. And so did it just happen? I mean, you just called these people on the phone, and it was like, okay, Daniel, come on.
Well, no. No. It's the power of relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you meet, and you know that musician refers you to another musician.
Okay.
You know, when the Wales concert was happening, Eric McDaniels had just gotten a call to do the voice. My friend Kenny Crouch, who was in the band, was looking for another keyboard player. So I was referred to him, and toured with Michael, was the music director at that time. And so he called and said, hey, I'm looking for the keyboard. You know, if, you know, we were rehearsing for 3 months in L.A. Monday. It was a Friday when I got that call.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if you can be here on Monday, the gig is yours.
Wow.
And it was just that simple. Yeah.
But I saw it was just that simple, but obviously I'm sure there was some things that they saw in you that they knew regarding obviously your character, integrity, your musicianship. What would you say for those? Because I have quite a few musicians who are listening and watching it on Facebook, checking it out on Facebook, along with artists. What would you say are some key things when it comes to working, being a working musician, a working producer, and being able to keep those relationships?
I think my biggest thing was I've always been a student. You know, my mentor, Tony Walker, used to call me a sponge back when I was about 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So everything I could learn about music, about entertainment, you know, I was observed. I wanted to go to every rehearsal, every recording section. You know, back then you used to be able to go hang out in Tower Records, you know, from CDs to whatever. You could go read every magazine. You know, you couldn't afford no subscription to Billboard back then. Looking at that magazine every week, you know, buying the Donald Passman book, all you need to know. I could get my hands on, you know, everybody I could talk to. I did it, and so I became a real student. And then any artist I ever heard, hey, you kind of sing like Donny Hathaway, and at that time I didn't know who Donny Hathaway was.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to school to Mr. Berry, and he had a whole library of just CDs, and he'd like to check them out. So I would, you know, go grab about 4 or 5 Donny Hathaway CDs,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd just be on it, and listening to everything about it, you know, from the mix to the songwriting to, you know, these arrangements, you know. When somebody said, you know, you kind of remind me of Stevie Wonder, and all I would have known at that time, you know, I went and listened to every Stevie Wonder record, every song, every, you know, it was just being a student of that thing. Every time I saw that there was a music special on from, I don't know if you remember, Sisters in the Key of Love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Special with Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight and Dionne Ward. My mother would tape those, you know, specials. If Patti was having a special and she's singing Where Do You Stand, Who's on the Lord's Side, like I watched everything and I could get my hands on. I remember when Ray Charles, the 50th anniversary, and him and Stevie Wonder singing Living for the City.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything I could do, I just continued to do, and I wanted to try to find how to be authentic in every single genre. It wasn't just church, and I was fortunate. You know, my parents just stayed locked in into just church. I was exposed to all kinds of music,
Mm-hmm.
and so everything I learned, I tried to mimic it for as best I could. So when I got into these kind of situations, like an Anita Baker, my mother first buying to give you the Best That I Got record, and so I could mimic Greg Fillingane's. Saying Greg Fillinganes, you know, from his voicing to how he would kind of, you know, approach a song, I took that into everything. But then his approach for the Jacksons was quite different.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but to be able to be authentic and be able to play like a hymn, you know, whether it's with Mariah, you know, I wanted to know everything that Walter A was doing, like everything. And she's so amazing because she wrote all those songs. You know, you got to really know all the intricacies of every single arrangement, every single sound. She's listening for everything,
Mm-hmm.
and those details are just so amazing and important to me that I just wanted to just dive in, and I dived in way before I had a gig.
Right.
And, you know, when it's the Beatles for the record, you know, we didn't have YouTube tutorials and we couldn't slow the records down even when I was a kid, and I would transcribe anything from Hart Tatum to Herbie Hancock. I mean, I just wanted to know everything.
Right.
I'm still studying. I'm still learning. I'm still, everything musical that catches my ear. From new technology to, I'm trying to figure out how to learn Ableton at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
An evolutionary journey.
Right. So being a learner and just diving in versus just, as I was saying at the top of the show, just not taking what somebody tells you, but actually learning and reading. And you said becoming a student. Now we did.
It's a student.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfecting your craft. I mean, everything you can know about what it is that you do.
Everything you can know. I hope you guys are listening.
Everything you can know.
I hope you all are listening to what he's saying. Everything you can know to perfect what you do and being a student, which is the music industry for those of us who are watching the show or listening. Now, also, Daniel, so we've talked about Mariah Carey. We know that you're a church boy. We know that you love God. We talked about Anita Baker, the Jacksons. So you've dealt with and worked with quite a few secular artists, and recently on 2 weeks ago for the Super Bowl gospel celebration, we were all introduced live to Snoop Dogg and his new project, featuring several.
Mm-hmm. Record is probably going to be one of the dopest gospel records. We're going to talk.
So we're going to talk about it. It's going to go down in history.
I had the opportunity to listen to several tracks, not just the ones we did on the live, several tracks, and I was like, yo, nuts.
Y'all heard it here. Y'all heard it here.
It's going to be quite pivotal, and I'm getting ready to make a big statement, so hopefully nobody kills me on social media.
Go ahead.
For where we are in our time, this record is going to be just as pivotal and inspirational as Amazing Grace record was in that time.
Now, say that one more.
Going to open up.
Say that one more time, Daniel. Your phone was breaking up a little bit.
As pivotal and as can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Your phone was breaking up just a little bit. Go ahead.
Okay. I think the Snoop record is going to be as pivotal and as inspirational as Aretha Franklin's Amazing Grace record was in that time.
Wow.
And the reason I say that is because not only is Snoop vocal, but because it's Snoop, it introduces the genre to a whole different class of people that would not normally get to hear. And, one thing I believe that is so important is that, not just the worshiper, not just the believer, but there are some people that are encouraged just by the music itself, just fans of the genre. Those are the people that love Oh Happy Day. Not that the church doesn't. They may not have the plethora of knowledge of all the gospel music, artists that you would say play on this show. I was intrigued by Snoop's tour manager, who was a 47-year-old Italian who had never heard gospel music ever. When Rance Allen came to sing, he was just mesmerized. Rance Allen been around at least 40 years, and before that, in the Watts concert, he was doing secular music himself. All right? So
he was.
For him to say something like that, or never have heard of the Clark sisters, that was mesmerizing for me. And I said, because it's Snoop, he's taking this music, and that's where he's taking the message. And I think that's so necessary right now.
So you're saying, so you said the person that you met, he had never heard gospel music, and by him hearing Rance Allen, and he said he's 47 years old, and by him hearing Rance Allen, do you think that gospel? Well, my other question. So he's never heard it, and he's not in the gospel realm or field. But what do you think the response will be for those in gospel music? Or what have you heard? What has been the response regarding the Snoop project?
The response in the gospel community is always going to be a balancing scale, and the reason that is because a lot of us as Christians and just I guess people in the church, we take ownership of this music. And sometimes that ownership is so deep that we don't release it. It's ours. And if you don't believe what we believe, if you don't walk how we walk, if you don't talk how we talk, if you don't do what we do, then you don't get to experience what we experience.
Mm-hmm.
We are the exclusive, we hold the exclusive rights to this music and to this style. Because that's not the message that Jesus came. He said he came for the lost. And that's not to say that Snoop or anybody else that does anything else is lost. You know, we can't hold it on so tight, nor can we judge people because they may not do it the way we do it.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that they don't have a relationship with God their way. And, you know, unfortunately, you know, we get offended when something happens to us in regards to racism or equality or classism or anything else. But we become those people
mm-hmm.
when we hold on to kingdom that and we don't allow the release to people that are not necessarily churched.
Mm-hmm. Now,
and that's unfortunate.
So what do you think has maybe been, so with gospel music, so Snoop is doing a gospel album, and which may reach those who may not hear it, like you were saying, but so what do you think can be done in the gospel genre to broaden the spectrum or the reach to maybe that 47-year-old that you said, you know, he never heard Rance Allen or gospel music as a whole?
There's a couple of dynamics to that. You know, I don't want to come off as if the gospel music industry isn't doing all that they can do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in gospel music, there are limited, unfortunately.
You said, say that one more time.
Not a lot of, if you don't have radio.
You said limited
outlets.
Limited outlets. Okay.
Yes, limited outlets in gospel music, unfortunately. And so on Radio 1, first of all, who
mm-hmm.
controls a bulk of the radio, and or if you don't have that in your region, there's not a lot of television outlets, you know, there's not a lot of endorsements or whatever. So, you know, for instance, group you were just playing, the Kinsmen, they have a great song. And, you know,
you're listening to TabernacleRadio.org, where the masses dwell.
Reaches the masses, you know, but for them, you play it, or these other people play it, or they get on Radio 1, and they get on Celebration of Gospel or whatever, that, you know, it opens them up to that world.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have to continue to, you know, press forward in their journey of exposure, you know. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, in gospel music, so much of it is concentrated on worship.
Mm-hmm.
That, again, it takes an element out for the person that's either just a fan of genre, wants to be inspired by the message. If you're going to be a worshiper, then you have to have a relationship. The Bible says they worship him, must worship him in spirit and in truth. Just coming off the street, and I never heard this kind of music. I don't have that relationship yet. If your song is just vertical and it's just talking about your relationship with God, you're missing me in the horizontal.
Mm-hmm.
You may not understand Hallelujah Shabbat. Understand never will have made it. And so that's why those kinds of songs translate a different way. They understand God provides. We've all been in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Understand, you know, some of the other just straight worship songs. And that's not to say that there's a problem with praise and worship music, but I will say there is an over where we don't get a lot of the other songs that through but are encouraging. You know, I heard Donnie McClurkin say, you know, gospel music is about the life, the death, and the resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
That's a story. That's a story. And that's a story that can encourage anyone,
mm-hmm.
no matter where you are in life, no matter where your walk is in the faith.
Right.
You know, it's been a long time coming, but change is going to come. I waited till the evening.
Right.
You know, that's the ain't no need to worry, you know, what the night is going to bring. It'll be all over in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Right. Or even like Marvin Sapp's never would have made it.
Exactly. You know, those are the songs that are going to connect. You know, when the Clark sisters did, you know, just know we're blessed and highly favored.
Mm-hmm.
Who hasn't been at that point where you have to just look back and see all the things that God's brought you from? It's like, wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And so for somebody like Snoop to put a trap beat on it with the same message, it translates another way. And
Gotcha.
I think that's important.
So what do you think there will be, just from the stages that you've worked on and the artists that you worked with, do you think there'll be more collaborations in the future similar to like Tasha Cobbs and Nicki Minaj?
I hope so.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the one thing that I heard is that recording that record, and Nicki saw it on social media that she was already in the studio, and she tweeted Tasha on the album. So it wasn't a big marketing ploy or
Mm-hmm.
thing that Tasha was doing to get more exposure. You know, this was something, a genuine person saying, hey, be a part of what it is that you're doing. And again, I think those things are so important. You know, that's the excitement that people got when Beyonce and them was on the Stella Awards.
Yeah, you're right.
She would say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of things, I think are important, and I hope those collaborations stay to connect another way. You know, I remember when I was a kid and I saw Salt on TV. When I think about the goodness and fullness like that.
Mm-hmm. With Kirk Franklin with God's Property. Yep.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, even when Lean on Me came on, you saw Bono and R. Kelly.
Yep, I remember that.
Along with
Mm-hmm.
Man, and all this is like collaborations continue to happen, and I hope that, you know, the gospel music industry, because again, you know, this is ratchet or this person represents this on Instagram, so I don't want to be a part. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Cardi B would do something in a 90s, you know, round with Bruno Mars, but when that came out, it was dope.
Mm-hmm.
Another genre, you know, I hope we're open to that so that we can get more classics like, you know, Wines and Anita Baker, Ain't No Need to Worry.
Right. Well, have you recently seen the on Instagram where Jonathan McReynolds, he has a new project coming out. Everybody knows I love Jonathan McReynolds, but his new record that's coming out, not the single, one of the songs is called Cycles, and Candy Burris, quite a few people have done the Cycles challenge, and Candy Burris, she also, which I thought was cool, that she, I won't say retweeted, I don't know what you call it, she posted on Instagram, she did her version of his Cycles challenge. And, you know, and she's in another genre, and it just shows that, you know, it's opening up to, you know, you just never know who's paying attention. I don't know if you were able to see that or not.
I think that's dope. I haven't seen that, no, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not on Instagram. But, yeah, I think that's dope. I mean, redid Is My Living in Vain years ago. So,
Mm-hmm.
by that, you know, I'm encouraged that, you know, the collaboration, that kind of energy and synergy is still happening. And I hope it continues. I hope it gets bigger. I hope we can blur the lines much more.
Right.
There is a genuine thing, respect. You know, I don't know a gospel singer, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's no reason why somebody like a Brandy or a Jasmine Sullivan can sing a gospel song.
Right.
And we all not be up in arms about it.
Right. Exactly.
When Aretha could do it, Al Green did it.
Yeah, he did. You're right, he did. So for those who are listening, and if you're just joining us on Facebook or tabernacleradio.org, I have the one and only Daniel Moore on the line with me. We're talking about some great things. Daniel has been on several stages, music, entertainment, television, for quite some time, and he's the music director for Mariah Carey, Anita Baker, the Jacksons. He's been the music director for so many great television shows that you all have watched, Trumpet Awards. I'm trying to think of all of them again, Daniel, but all the shows that you watch, we're just going to say that Daniel has so that's fine. He has been the music director for them and been a part of the music team and more. And if you are on Facebook, you're seeing different pictures of him with Mariah Carey where he sang live on stage with her, and also the Jacksons and so many more. But also, Daniel, so can you share with those who are listening and watching, can you just share what does it take to be a part, not just the music industry, but to be in the entertainment industry as a whole? Can you give me like 2 tips or things that you would say that it's going to take for anybody want to be a part of this? Like, you have to be a part and to maintain your sanity in the entertainment industry, because that's what you're in, Daniel. You have crossed boundaries, genres, platforms.
I mean, for me, these opportunities, these to work with, it's just that. It's a blessing, but it's also a job. And so the first thing, studying your craft makes you prepared for the job.
Okay.
Your craft before you get the job. To me, that's just as important as anyone who wants to be a doctor, a lawyer, and you have to go get a degree.
Mm-hmm.
All those years of studying, makes you the expert in whatever your craft is. And so, with music, unfortunately, asks you for your degree or your certificate before you hand them your CD. And so,
right.
But what makes you special is when you know that, when you understand not just what came before you, but you understand how to apply all of the different elements of your craft that you're trying to do. And that be whether you're a singer, a musician, a producer, a songwriter. You want to know everything that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I would say is professionalism. That's such a undersold thing. One thing I used to always say is, even when I was directing choirs, it's practicing. Rehearsal is rehearsal. So, one of the main things that will make me not hire a musician or a singer is if you come into rehearsal to practice, meaning that you're learning the song in rehearsal. If we already know it, we're just rehearsing so we find our synergy.
Right.
But if we're rehearsing to learn it, then we're wasting time. The other side of it is, professionalism from timeliness, for not being on time, being late for gigs, not being prepared to look, I've seen a lot of cats, come in and get fired from gigs because, they weren't show ready, as we would say.
Right.
What that means is, if you're with a certain artist and you're, gowns or suits or whatever, and you come in with a T-shirt.
Not prepared.
For that particular artist. Not for an artist, the wardrobe, but there's, you got to really study that, study what it means, when I'm on TV and that camera pans, this is what musicians look like. This is what singers look like. So in that space, so I need to find my way of doing this. That. And the third thing I would say, that I really think is undersold is understanding how money works. And that's not in the sense of just getting paid for the gig, but in what we do, the gig is not going to be always, and the gig is not going to last forever. And because we are such vibey people, we are continuously living in the moment. And when that moment passed, you still got bills, you still got your rent, you still got, whatever you got going on, be it a health issue, something going on with your family. You got to understand, okay, get this gig or this tour might not come through. So, I need to take, say, 20%, 30% of everything that I have aside.
Right.
Whether you want to do investments, index funds, mutual funds, understand a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA. We don't get the employer match of 401ks for retirement and all that kind of stuff.
No, we don't.
So, those things are extremely important. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen cats that, are crying and they're not working as much anymore. And so now we get all these emails and things of such and such, if we can just sow this seed, if we can get this, that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean that person didn't do everything that they needed to do. That, prepare for that on the front end as best you can. Find your emergency fund. Find that 6 months, that 12 months of money, just in case you can't work, just in case something happens.
Right.
You're in the hospital. You don't want your phone cut off while you're in the hospital.
That's true.
You get to do that next gig. You can't count that that money in the bank until it's there. Those are my three things. Learning your craft, understanding how to be a professional, and please learn about money.
And learn about money. And also, so if you all are listening, I'll put that in the comment section with Dan. He's covering so many different areas, which help with our before the stage, on the stage, and off the stage. But I want to backtrack a bit because I want to restate something you said about going back to the gospel music conversation we had. You said that in gospel music, a lot of the music now, and it's true, it has been vertical versus horizontal. And I want to restate that again for everyone to hear that so that I think it's important for us to be intentional about who we're singing to and who we are supposed to be singing to and what the goal is overall. Because I think that's a huge statement that you made, Daniel. Not saying that we should totally change it, but be more aware of that.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, we have songs that talk to God, and they describe our personal relationship. They describe, sometimes they're just a sentiment of gratitude or a sentiment of worship or just praise or admiration for who He is. And all those songs are great. When you say something like, ignite this fire that lives within me, that might not translate to the person that doesn't have that kind of relationship.
Right, that's true.
As a songwriter or as a producer, you have to, or even as an artist, you have to decide who I'm trying to reach. Now, if you're just, there's nothing wrong with that, because we need that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there needs to be a balance for when we have these movements for Black Lives Matter or for Me Too or for what's happening. There has to be a song. There has to be something, because a hashtag will die away. We will forget about it in 5 or 6 minutes.
Right.
But a song will live forever. We're still singing what's going on. We're still singing. We're still singing respect.
Right. We are.
And so, we have to have those kinds of songs. Sometimes people are just coming in. I never forget, I was under this pastor who was saying, as a worship leader, you shouldn't always ask people to clap their hands or stand up or even sing along.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really know what that person has gone through, what that made them walk through that door. A battered wife, and her husband beats her because she comes to church.
Mm-hmm.
Is just walking through those doors and being in this atmosphere. She's not participating.
Right.
Doesn't mean she's not worshiping.
Exactly.
That song has to hit for her. And she's going to, something that's horizontal, something that says, never would have made it. I think it's not her, the powder wants to put you back together again. Like,
mm-hmm. Right.
Those kinds of songs we still have to have. Can't just be worshipers. We have to be, the Bible says, fishers of men in the same light.
Mm-hmm. You hit that's the point right there. Fishers of men, and I'm taking all this in because you're teaching me a lot. So I'm trying to take it all in so I can have it for myself, and also I definitely want to put it in the comment section for those who are going to watch the replay of the interview and the show. But Dan, you're giving so much great information because, like I keep saying, you've been on several stages and you've worked in different genres of music, so you've gained a lot at an early age. And I know that you have so much more that you're going to accomplish in your career. But also, lastly, can you give maybe like a quick rundown of the normal schedule? And this is and I think this will help artists. You're a musician and you've been an artist as well. Because I've had some people actually ask me, for you guys who listen, Daniel has had a project out. It's probably not available right now, but he had an EP out. And he does sing, as he mentioned before, when he sang background for Sunday Best and so many other recordings. But can you give a quick rundown for a normal schedule or day, or I'll say a week or 24 hours, whatever you think is best, for a working artist?
I don't think the word normal is anywhere in my
Okay, not normal. Because you're right. I mean, and I say it all the time, like the music industry is not a 9 to 5. This is a 24/7 situation.
No.
Like, can you give give it to those who are artists and musicians and they just really want to be a part of this industry, like they gonna do whatever it takes, but can you just tell the people what this really looks like for a working musician or artist?
It's a flexible thing, and let me address that too, because you said that a lot of people want to be a part.
Yes, they do.
And I think sometimes when we say that you have to play, with, Nicki Minaj or be on the road with such and such to be in the music industry.
Mm-hmm. No, it's not.
In the music industry, every time you're on your instrument or every time you pick up the microphone, when you're in your church, when you're in your local gig, when you're rocking your praise team, you're in the music industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so you ask me, well, how did that happen? What did they see in you? They saw the same dedication that I took to Sunday Best at Ebenezer.
Gotcha.
Where I serve as a musician.
Mm-hmm.
Most instances, it's not because, this gig is better than that one, so my energy changes, or it's not that it will change once I get this gig. No, you have to be in the music industry all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now I was talking about the professionalism, the look, the everything. When you go to the local jam session,
Mm-hmm.
you're in the music industry. That may look more appealing and look bigger. They're still jobs.
That's true.
They're blessings, but they're jobs.
That's true. That's true.
The second thing is, in being in that, you have to be flexible. I mean, flexible is and I'm one of those people, my phone may ring about anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when I call your phone, you don't hardly answer. You don't answer when I call Daniel. So.
But I always call you back.
Yeah, you do. I can't say that you don't. Yeah, you do.
Maybe not come when you want me.
Right, but you call on your time. Right, okay. But go ahead. You say you have to be flexible.
You have to be flexible, and circumstances make people not so flexible. And I was fortunate enough to, with the mother of my child, understood, just my career. She
Mm-hmm.
supported me, and I support her, when she was in school, and, she supports me when I got to go on the road.
Right.
My son, we try to make the most stablest environment for him, between the two of us as parents, even though we're not necessarily together.
Right.
That said, that flexibility might be, hey, can you watch David? I got to leave town for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Step out and, go take this phone call when I'm in the middle of or a movie or something. It might be a producer call from a show. So, the flexibility is the schedule. You might have an 8-10 hour rehearsal day. And, you'll hear that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really when you get into those other situations and you're like, hey, show starts in such and such in this state place. What do we do?
Right.
Domino effect just starts rolling and rolling and rolling. I mean, I think what we were doing was like, hey, so the church said,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really agree with this, but the church won't let us do that. We can't get in until this time. Push back. And so you and I, even though you might leave the office at 5, I might have to call you at 9, 10 o'clock.
Right.
Because, hey, urgent.
Right.
And that's just the schedule.
That's the schedule. Exactly.
And, for me, when I'm done with a project, that's why it's important to take a moment to breathe.
Right. And because you've been...
Also,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have to take a minute to breathe, and I have to make sure that I'm not overbooking myself.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when certain calls come, you want to take every single one of them because the money is good.
Right,
and
that's
you
true.
don't know when the next time you might get a call, or you might have a drought coming up.
Mm-hmm.
I might be off for the next 6 months.
Yes.
But if I just came off of 2 projects, I'm gonna kill myself taking that next one. So that's where my faith has to kick in and be like, okay, this one I might need to pass on, and I'll take the next one. Might not know what the next one is.
Mm-hmm.
because I'll burn myself out.
It reminds me of, I put something on Facebook, something that Kevin Hart said during his masterclass on Oprah's masterclass. He said some other, this statement I think was pretty clean, but he said with the entertainment industry, he was actually referring to his past marriage, his former marriage, and he was saying how they had to be flexible, like what you just said. But he said with the entertainment industry, he said the toughest thing about the entertainment industry is you can't predict where it will take you, and that's just the truth. And like what you just said is, you can't put a finger on. I know for sure.
Monique used to always say, if you stay ready, you never have to get ready.
If you stay ready, you won't have to get ready.
If you stay ready, you never have to get ready.
Got you.
That goes back to in perfecting your craft.
Mm-hmm.
When that next thing happens that you don't know what's coming down the line.
Right.
And that preparation will get you to the next thing, because it's never about that you're on currently. It's about the next one.
Right. Exactly.
It's called because someone saw what you did on the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And in the reverse, if someone saw what you didn't do on the last one, you won't get the next call.
Yeah, that's true too.
So that preparation, and that understanding your craft, that professionalism, they are observing everything, and you build a reputation. I heard somebody say that, it takes a lifetime to build a reputation. It takes 15 minutes to ruin it.
That's true. That's so true. Probably less than that. 5 minutes, you can ruin it. It just depends. It depends on the situation. Yeah, right. It's a minute, 1 minute. It can ruin it all. That's so true. And those you all listening, this is Daniel Moore. He's been giving so much great information. He just covered. I asked the question of give a normal day. He broadened it a little bit for a musician or artist, being prepared, being flexible, knowing about money, how to manage your money. The preparedness, the flexibility. This is not a normal 9-to-5 job. And just knowing, you said like something Monique said, being ready. I forgot what you said again. To be ready. Help me out, Daniel.
If you stay ready.
Right. You'll never have to get ready. My memory's not the best, Daniel. I'm getting old. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember all this at the same time. But anyway, Dan, you have been such a great guest on the Artist Stage Radio Show. And I hope those who have joined and listened have learned a lot from what you have shared on this evening. I know I have. Every time we talk, I feel like, I always say you're a walking encyclopedia, library, music store, and so many more things. And I appreciate you. Because we met years ago, and I had to pay you to work on a record, and I didn't want to pay you, but no, I'm just playing you all. Daniel was phenomenal when we met, and he worked on the Pay Sisters project on Ty Scott, and he's been doing so many great things before that, and even after I met him. So it had a lot to do when I met him and what happened through the connection and how it impacted his life. So, but anyway, thank you, Daniel, for hanging out with me on the Artist Stage Radio Show. I know you're a busy guy. And now, when will you be heading back out on the road or on tour? So if anybody's at one of these great concerts, they can come and say hey to you.
Well, the next thing I have coming up actually is the Stellar Award.
Okay. Yep. And that's in March.
In Vegas in March.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
anybody who's coming out to the Orleans, I'll see you there.
So please, if you see Daniel Moore, I know you'll. Well, I don't know. They might not see you, Daniel, because at the Stellars, are you all behind stage, in the pit? Where's that? I'm trying to think.
It changes.
Yeah, it does.
We're actually doing a band again. Unfortunately, the last 2 years we didn't have a band.
That's right. That's right.
And it's going to be, it's going to be fun. So so I've been watching the Stellar Awards, and it was Marilyn McCool.
Oh, wow.
Pushing Davis. Y'all remember that?
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. So
a long time ago.
Super choir, super fast, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is one of my favorites. One of my favorite projects.
But you're a part of it, and listening to everything you shared, your expertise, your professionalism, your gifts, your talents, your training from your parents, your schooling, it has all helped you to become, and you're becoming even more of who you are today, which is a great and most sought after music director, musician, and producer. So thank you again, and thank you everybody.
I'm gonna hire you as a PR person.
See, please do. Please, I need the money. Yay! Thank you. Daniel's gonna hire me. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put my plug out. So for those of you all who don't know, I do offer publicity services through my company, Tracy. I have to do that, Daniel, since you mentioned it. Somebody else has been on me about that, making sure that I plug my services. I do provide publicity services. And I will be one of Daniel client. Daniel Moore is one of my clients starting today. Right, Daniel? Yes. Okay. So that has been confirmed. So you'll start seeing me on Facebook talking about my client, Daniel Moore, and all the great things. I'll be following behind him trying to get all those good connections. But anyway. But thank you, Daniel, for being on the show, and thank you all. If you all have any comments, I didn't say this earlier, but I should have said it. But if you want to put the comments your statements in the comments section or questions for Daniel, go ahead and put them in there. We'll try to answer them offline. And hit him up on Facebook. He isn't on Instagram, but he is on. You're not on Twitter anymore, are you, Daniel? Are you on Twitter?
No.
Yeah, he's too famous, y'all. He do the Facebook thing. I understand.
Not bad. I just couldn't manage it.
I understand. I totally understand. But he's on.
We'll get you to do it all for me.
See, you got to pay me. The social media thing, I got you. We're going to work out that monthly payment, and it helps pay my rent. So that's all we're concerned about right now. My car note payment is coming up soon. So anyway, but thank you, Daniel, for being on the show. And everybody who's joined, check him out on Facebook. He will be at the Stellar Awards. You want to say hi to Daniel Moore? Go ahead and stalk him out real good and find him and say hey to him, because he has a wealth of knowledge. Thank you, Daniel, and I appreciate you. And you have a great,
Thank you for having me.
Have a great rest of your evening. And happy Valentine's Day, Daniel.
Happy Valentine's.
You too. Have a great evening. Right. Bye-bye. Thank you, everybody. This is the Artist Stage Radio Show. And that was Daniel Moore.